Okay, we call the meeting to order, say the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I call for a vote on president, please.
Okay. I'll nominate Darren Bird for president. I'm willing to do vice, help him along. Anything else?
Could I have a second?
I'll second it.
Now you gotta vote.
Ready? Darren,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Joel,
Yes.
Jim,
No.
Is this a continuation?
You know, you gotta have one person. Okay, so that's taken care of.
President.
This was seats there.
Vice
You get to that
President,
gavel.
he's got a call for president.
I nominate Scott Rudd.
Or
Well, wait.
Vice President.
Vice.
Oh, vice. Oh, I charge you vice.
Okay. There it goes. So is it, you gotta handle that, I guess, Darren, it's gonna be separate, what, because I sort of threw them in at one.
What are you gonna do when,
Yes.
You're president, you gotta figure it out now, bud. You're on your own.
one nominee at a time, or you wanna open up to several nominees?
Judy nominated Scott Rudd. So need a second if that's what you want.
I'll second. Why not?
All right. Have a nomination and second for Scott Rudd as vice president.
Darren,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Gary,
No.
Patrick,
Yes.
Joel,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
She's,
Did Judy vote or she nominated?
she
Oh,
nominated.
okay.
I don't know if she's voting. Are you voting, Judy?
Not at this point.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Congratulations. Now what are we gonna do?
You're gonna be your meeting.
We
approve the minutes?
No.
Yeah.
Any additions or changes to the agenda? Nope. Approval of minutes.
Motion to approve minutes.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Darren,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Joel.
Yeah.
Jim,
Yes.
Do you want me to elbow you? Oh, okay.
Okay, we get old business now, we're reading, put the Parks and Rec budget back into the general fund. Parks and Rec back into the general fund.
Yes,
We have
you need to vote on whether to do that. To put it back in the June fund.
discussion, comments. Do you have anything on it?
My understanding is some parts of the budget still may end up in CVC, depending on if they have a meeting and discern if that's possible.
Actually, when we discussed it, it was, we put it all back into the general fund, and then CVC would come in and you would take and figure out what can be spent for tourism there.
Right, they will pay us.
Yes,
All right.
and
Good
they will
point.
reimburse.
Yeah, that's clarity. That's better clarity than what I was saying.
Need a motion on it?
I make a motion with vote.
Second, anything?
I'll second it.
Darren,
Yes. Wait, discussion.
Couldn't see what that did.
And let's get some detail on the meat on the bones here. So the entirety of it, which is.
The whole budget, the
Which
whole
was what?
Parks and Rec budget go back into the general fund.
180,
187,000.
Yes,
184.
like 184.
Okay.
So it's going back into the budget the way it had been.
And then
previously.
Kevin agreed to talk with Mark,
Yeah.
and then one of you guys would be a
Yeah,
part of that meeting and
yeah.
find out what can be spent on tourism.
Yeah,
I think Scott, you're gonna be part of that.
Yeah, Brian, we should bring
Right.
you in because I think you've already done some work on that.
And then they would reimburse.
Any other discussion?
Kevin, I don't have documentation on this, but I believe I read somewhere that the CVC fund, that the revenue that goes into that fund cannot be transferred into any other fund. So
It can't be transferred, like you can't make the.
you
transfer.
cannot take,
We can make a transfer
you,
though.
no, you cannot take revenue out of the CVC fund. And I don't have the documentation with me. But if my memory serves me correctly, you cannot, as part of the statutes, you cannot take money out of the CVC fund and basically, journal it over to, say, the general fund. So if there are expenses, if that statement that I just made is accurate, which I believe it to be, you're gonna have to move line items, whatever those line items are, out of the general fund for Parks and Rec that you want to pay and transfer those back into that CVC fund.
Well, the way we've handled things like that in the past is we've physically written checks. Like we don't write the checks, the auditor's office, but a claim is submitted.
and a check is written to that. We've done it with the treasurer's office to offset costs that they've incurred. So, and it's an actual physical check.
Right, but would there need to be line items within the CDC budget to cover those claims?
I think more importantly, there just needs to be documentation supporting its compliance.
You're gonna have to have
Whatever that is.
an accurate accounting that's in alignment with the state board of accounts and the state statutes, right? So I'm just a disclosure, that's all.
Yeah, Jim, I think the other thing that I saw was you can't transfer into the innkeeper's tax fund, or other funds as well, in or out. Yeah.
Yeah, my interpretation, which makes sense, that you've got an isolated fund, the CVC fund, and you can put all sorts of different line items in it, but you cannot transfer money in and out of it from one fund to the other, which makes sense from an accounting standpoint.
Get a motion in a second, correct?
Mhm.
Okay. You for a vote?
Darren,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Joel,
Yes.
Jim,
No.
Removing money from Commissioner's line 12,600 to fix errors in the budget.
Yeah. Which usually would be what would generally go into the health fund to take some of that money and then fix the funds that were taken out of that they have to have.
What was the total on that?
I think it was like 700 is what they were talking about.
Okay. First of all, I believe it was the Economic Development Fund is what we're dealing with. Secondly, there was 405,000 in the original Form 1 that was submitted. I got accused of overinflating the health insurance premium, which is an absolute mischaracterization of the truth. Because the 2.7 million that I allocated for the group medical for 2026, in order to do that, we had to bump the 405 in the Economic Development Fund by 700 grand. So we'd have $1,105,000 in order to be able to get to that magic number of 2.7 million, which, by the way, was that came from Apex. And that was based on a 50-50 probability, if you run a standard deviation of what the medical claims and the total cost would be projected for 2026. So, and also keep in mind, we since I took office in 23, I have had to fight for 24, 25, and now all of a sudden, because we somehow didn't have the claims, thank goodness. Whereas the commissioner's office, I think they've got healing powers because they kind of took credit that we didn't have the claims for 25 because they were somehow able to have control over that. But anyway, because we didn't have the claims, we ended up with about $1 million in reserves. Thank God. But now here we are again. We got some reserves, and so we're proposing to cut it back. We're going to cut the premium back to $2 million. And underfunded for 2026 because apparently the commissioners want to spend that 700,000 on something else, which I have no idea what they've earmarked that 700 grand to go spend that 700 grand on. But that's what you're dealing with. That's what you're voting on. So there you go.
Question.
Yeah.
I think we said we would leave that funding where it was. Can you describe that process of?
Yes, to leave the money into the Economic Development Fund and use it as needed. Take it as needed, not take it all out of there at once, which is normally what we do.
Yeah. So in other words, once we take that 700K out, it can't go back in. And I think what we said was instead of transferring it all lump sum, do it. Jackie suggested a quarterly, kind of trickle it out as we monitor the health expenses. And if those expenses stay low like they were last year, which I'm not sure they will.
I'm not sure they
Then
will
there
either.
is, then we see what is left, and until we see what is left and an additional
Yeah.
is requested, there's no, there's no action there. I don't.
The underlying assumption is that the commissioner's office won't come to the council. And so, for example, we all know the commissioner's office has been in negotiations with the town of Nashville over that police department building, correct? But the one thing that's never been discussed, just like it was never discussed when we did the $1.5 million project or $1.3 million on the Sally Port for the courthouse, or just like, for example, when we voted to, or you guys did, I didn't vote for it, to spend $300,000 on this quarter-acre lot next to the library, we never discussed on how we were going to fund it. So they're in negotiations, they're having a conversation with the, Nashville on buying that building. And so there's never had a conversation, unless you guys, one of you on the council have had a conversation about it, but I'm not clear on how they're going to pay for that building, considering the fact that that building cannot be paid out of the general obligation bond. So your assumption, I get what you're saying, your assumption is though that that 700 grand will continue to stay in that economic development fund unless the commissioners decide to go spend it on something else, and then it's gone.
Yeah.
So
I asked that question at the last meeting, and in order to move money out of that fund or spend it on something other than what we budgeted for, they would have to come to the council and get council authorization. So I think
frankly, when has the council ever said no?
you just did. I think you're gonna say no on everything today too. So actually, I think the action is to ask you to quarterly transfer from the edit fund into the budgeted health fund moving forward. And I would ask that before we get to the third quarter, you consult with the council and give us a balance update before we continue to push money into that, if that makes sense.
I think it was discussed to be quarterly review as to what to
Yeah.
do with that money.
That's not a problem. This is a whole different thing. The commissioners, they talked with you on the last meeting we had about everything that was taken out of their fund, or what they say was taken out of their funds. They need that stuff put back into those funds. This is where the issue lies, or what I'm talking about now.
Is that the IU theme song?
That's okay, it's the right song.
Well, why don't we start with this, because not seeing a list of those items in front of us. One thing I do recall is the HSA amount, which
Yeah.
was, how much?
HSA amount for 120.
So Darren, if you want a motion,
That wasn't my wife.
I'd like to, and are we, this is where Susan may be helpful. I mean, are we transferring additional?
Transferred their fund into other funds, not out of the edit fund. The edit fund's gonna go straight into the health fund. This fund is coming out of their general fund budget, out of the commissioner's general fund budget, line 12,600, to shore up what to transfer instead of asking for appropriations.
What was the total on that?
There's what that total was, 1,100,000. And I just want to make sure it got to vote on it, because we all, that they sat in here and spoke about it the whole time in the last meeting.
Could we, one suggestion, could we, I think we need a list of the amounts from and to accounts, purpose, and maybe at our next meeting, go through that and make sure we, to the penny, get this right, from the right fund to the right fund for the right reasons, and that we all see what we're doing. Right, I think that's the way we really need to be operating. I mean, just a suggestion.
Instead of one line on the agenda.
Yeah.
We'll do that. Do you want to just approve the help, the HSA fund then?
We do need that, don't we? That would be
Okay.
one, is that one that would be needed now?
That's, yep.
So, and that's 112, 120, 120 from where to where?
It's out of the general fund.
It'll be out of their fund from the 12,600 to go into the HSA fund, to fund it.
Anybody want to make a motion on the $120,000 transfer for the HSA account?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and second.
Karen,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Harry,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Joel,
Yes.
Jim,
What are we voting on?
The 120,
The
Just the 120?
yeah, for the HSA.
Yes.
Yeah.
Take it upstairs. He said,
He took it, as Clark said he was going to get rid of the HSA.
Yeah, that's right. We understood. We
If you remember.
Yeah.
Darren, would you take this suggested amendment, agenda change to move all the folks who are here to speak tonight up to the next now, so they can go.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
going to consider that instead of, we're gonna get into the salary ordinance, and that's going to be a big issue, so. Yes, I would like to
Get into it.
move up everybody who is here for board appointments.
Here, let's start just
For their presentation.
speed you people or
Yep,
start with the library board.
yep, for the library board, we have Dan Florin.
Well, thank you. My name's Dan Florin. I live in Van Buren Township. I grew up in Trafalgar, lived in Columbus for a while, and then my wife and kids and I moved to Brown County in 2021, the beginning of 2021. We have 8 kids. They're age 13 down to 1. Very, my wife homeschools, we homeschool. We utilize the library a lot. They do a lot more than I do, but I see the need to be involved in the community and help out where I can. So I'd really like the opportunity to help with that, serve in that position.
So we know there's one, council has one appointment, it's a 4-year term. And Darren, are we gonna choose tonight or just?
Yeah, I
hear?
think what we've discussed, we're gonna have everybody come up and listen to, make the presentation, and tomorrow's meeting, the commissioners are gonna make their appointments.
I think so.
No,
No?
they're doing the same. They're interviewing tomorrow and they'll make their appointments on the
So
4th.
they're doing the same thing.
Oh, it was on the 5th.
So we're gonna hear the presentation, have everybody come up and speak, and then we'll make our appointment.
I would suggest one slight amendment to that is if we have one candidate and there's one position, then maybe instead of losing a month of time for that person to engage, I think we got a couple of those here tonight where we have one applicant, one position, rather than kind of push it, it's the beginning of the year, but that's to kind of get
Right.
people in
Yeah,
the
if
seats. So,
we've got a board that has one vacancy, we have one applicant.
yeah.
If everybody's okay, we can fill that one just so there isn't a gap in any of the other boards.
So we got, and so, thank you.
Any questions or anything you'd like to know about me?
Any questions?
We got your letter here, so appreciate that.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you.
great background and frequent library user, it sounds like. We have one other candidate maybe that if you want to. Thank you. And then, of course, we've asked for, if you're interested in these positions, you really have to be here tonight to present and introduce yourself. And if you're not here tonight, it kind of kicks you off the consideration. This has been our traditional, right, approach. And so,
We have historically made exceptions for sitting board members because we have interviewed them and they're an actual city board member. And if anybody wants to,
remember that, but
we have done that. I mean. Okay, we have another letter of interest for the library board for Timothy Kelly.
And he's not here because there is a library board meeting going on right now.
Yeah. So
He's a current appointment.
that was one of the issues we faced before. actually on a board, so. And
Okay,
he is our current appointee on the board.
it's, yeah, I didn't see that, so.
Okay. We'll take those into consideration for the vote, for the next meeting. Are they?
Yeah, sorry, I was wondering if this person has withdrawn. She's withdrawn.
Okay.
Oh, that's alcohol back.
Yeah.
Here, do,
What was it?
that's Sue.
Yeah, she was withdrawn.
Well, there's an RDC, I think we got one of those. See one of those. Okay.
Oh, that was.
The RDC, we're supposed to have 2 appointees this year.
I have one applicant, it looks like. You will see, council folks, in your agenda, one applicant who has withdrawn. And so, email from Sandy. So I'll put that.
That's Susan Wood who has, who withdrawn. Okay, we have a letter of interest from James Norris. He present?
He is. Council, thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today. My interest in serving on the Brown County Redevelopment Commission comes from a lifelong commitment to public service. I spent 35 years in the military, which taught me leadership, accountability, teamwork, and the importance of making thoughtful, mission-focused decisions. Today, I serve as the Vice President of Support for Helping Veterans and Families, where I work to improve stability, housing, and quality of life for veterans and their families. That role has reinforced for me how policy, planning, and the redevelopment decisions that we do today can make changes in the lives for all those in Brown County. I see the Redevelopment Commission as playing a key role in shaping the future of Brown County by supporting economic growth, strengthening local businesses, and improving infrastructure, all while protecting the character and natural beauty that makes this community unique. I believe in responsible growth and being a good steward of public resources. If selected, my approach will be simple. Listen first, gather the facts, and make decisions based on data, fiscal responsibility, and community impact. I value collaboration, respectful dialogue, and I believe in transparency and integrity are essential in public service. My goal is to contribute my experience from both the military and nonprofit sectors to help support balanced redevelopment that benefits current residents and future generations. It would truly be an honor to serve Brown County in this way, and I appreciate your consideration. Any questions?
Thank you for having a prepared statement.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. That was all yesterday.
Yeah.
How many do we?
That's it for that one.
Okay, we have Matt Hanlon for the Brown County Regional Sewer District.
Hello, in here. Appreciate the time. This will actually be my second time running. So I was here 4 years ago, looking to be on the sewer board. So the last year, I've been the treasurer of the board. So looking to continue that. I was actually just reappointed as treasurer. So you have my letter. One thing I wanted to add that I noticed I did not put on there was the last year, as I was working as the sewer board's treasurer, we actually were audited by the State Board of Accounts for the calendar year 2023 and 2024. And if you go to our website, one of the things you can actually see is they had no findings. So all of our accounts were in good order. And that was during the time that I was there as treasurer. So again, I hope you would consider me to be on the board again. I appreciate that. And if you have any questions, you can either go to our website where I try to post all of our notes and minutes, or be happy to answer anything right now.
Lots going on with the sewer district right now.
Yes.
And could you just give us a thumbnail update? It sounds like good progress.
Yes, a lot's going on, and not sure how much we can share yet. I'm looking back at Clint, see how much we can share.
It looks like nothing, but.
So we'll have a lot of news very soon. But we're doing a lot of work in the Bean Blossom area, working with our engineering firm and the State Revolving Fund, SRF. We have a big project that has a lot of that engineering design completed right now. So all of that design, we basically have it on paper. And now we're trying to get to that next phase. So once we have the design done, the next phase is getting quotations done to try to get something in the ground going forward. So that's going to be more funding, more work with state and federal agencies, and working with the community at large to make sure that we're designing something that is right for the area. So.
And you're, quick, again, just quick background.
Yep.
Yeah.
So my background, I'm currently an engineer at Cummins. I've been there 12 years. My background in water is very limited. So I interned at the EPA back in 2006. And I'm just very interested in trying to help out in the community. So I actually was in the Office of Water. So I did a lot of stuff with the wastewater area and learned a little bit there. And it was a place where I saw in the community where I could help. So I have that background in engineering where when we're working with our engineering firms, I can ask really good questions and challenge them on why they're doing a certain design one way or another. And then with the work that I do now at Cummins, having that financial background where I can do a lot of our financial reports that helped with the SBOA audit.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, Darren, I'd like to make an editorial comment. Scott, several weeks ago, actually the whole board, I sent out a document on board appointments, if you remember. And to the best of my knowledge, we as a council do not have a documented policy that we can follow when it comes to board appointments. One of my major concerns for the process, both for the council and for the commissioner's office on board appointments, is that when I look, because I've got a history going back to 2017 with the Brown County Regional Sewer District. And I'm going to throw this anecdotal number out there, but I think this could be somewhere in the neighborhood of $45 million project. And it's the challenge is that we shouldn't take board appointments lightly, because to me, the last thing I would want to do is disrupt the continuity. When you finally can get a board of 5 people that go through the process of the learning curve, because the assumption is when we appoint someone to the board that they're competent, that they have the skill set required to be able to serve on that board. So when they do get appointed, I'm assuming there's a kind of a lengthy process to kind of get up and running. It's like with the redevelopment commission. I mean, there's a manual about that thick. There's a lot involved. And so for us to be haphazard when we go to appoint board members and then make decisions based on emotions rather than being very objective, being very fair-minded, being very rational, and while at the same time make those decisions while we understand in the context of that current board, how long that board has worked together, how well they function together, so that these people can ask the right questions, make the decisions that are in alignment with getting that project in the ground. You know, regardless, whether it's the CBC, whether it's the RDC, whether, I mean, we've the health board, we've got all sorts of boards in this county. So I wanted to, felt compelled to share my thoughts on that subject, that we, you know, there's a lot of responsibility with this and we should not take it lightly.
I agree. How many appointments do we have on the sewer board? Just the one? One time?
The same.
So
And RDC, I think we have 2 on the RDC.
Regional sewer, it's one appointment.
1, okay.
Well, the women in the sewer for 4 years.
And we have one that's the year.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I would be interested in making a motion if you'd like one.
Anybody have any objections to reappointing Matt to the sewer board so they can continue? Okay.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second to reappoint Matt Hanlon to the Brown County Regional Sewer District Board.
Darren,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Joel,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
And we have a letter of intent for reappointment to the Alcohol and Tobacco Commission from Dwayne Parsons. It's the only letter we have for alcohol.
Yeah. I think we got one point.
We have one appointment for 1 year term.
Oh, Dwayne Parsons, not to muddy the water too much before I ask you for my vote, but it was my interpretation back in November or so that we had to have our letters of intent in by January the 6th, and that the movement would be made on January the 20th. I don't remember whether that was in the paper, but it was supposed to be, that was what I was told. That's what I recall. That's why I put my letter in back in November. But anyway, aside from that, because a lot of the boards, mine included, we have meetings. I have one next week and others have other meetings, and by statute or by law, we're not on the board as we speak. We need to be reappointed. And to throw a little bit more at it, a couple years ago when we had the commissioner changeover, they expressed discontent over the fact that the outgoing commissioners were appointing, whereas if they'd waited a week, they could have appointed their own. And I kind of understood that. But anyway, back to what I said on the 6th of January and the 20th was my interpretation. But I'll give you a brief synopsis here. I have a 1-year term on the Alcohol and Tobacco Commission. I've been on the board since 2020 or 2019, been president of it since 2020, submitting my letter for another year. I enjoy working with it. I served a federally approved apprenticeship for tool and die trade, which retired tool and die maker from Rolls-Royce. My goal, I'm kind of skipping through because a lot of that you don't need to know. My goal is I'm interested in having input to help the county grow and prosper through additional business opportunities within the guidelines of the Alcohol, Beverage, and Tobacco Commission, and in turn, adding more jobs to the community. With more businesses would require more housing opportunities also. All of this would mean additional tax dollars going into the county and in general, help the county to grow in a positive direction. I feel that I have the time, the interest, and the experience to be an asset to the Alcohol, Beverage, and Tobacco Commission as I am retired. So I spend quite a bit of time going out in the community and reviewing people that have new petitions put in, and I appreciate your consideration. So, got any questions from anybody?
Did you also submit to the commissioners for appointment?
Not this year, no, sir.
Okay.
I used to be until last year when this board approved my letter of intent and put me on the board. I was appointed by the commissioners, and then I elected to through Jack Kreitzer's. He withdrew from the board that you guys had appointed. That left a void for your appointments, and it looked like a good opportunity for me to kind of jump the fence onto the greener side at the time. Without going into a lot of details, I just felt it was more positive atmosphere over here than what I had over there at that time.
Wow, we don't hear that very often.
Well, you gotta consider,
Jeez.
kind of consider the variables there. So anyway.
If you take a motion, that sounds like, I'd like to reappoint Dwayne Parsons to the Alcohol ABC Committee.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second.
Darren,
Yes.
Judy. Oh, sorry.
I can't be seen, so I can't vote.
That's
Okay, Scott,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Joel,
Yes.
Jim.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you guys are my eyes and ears. If you hear, like I've told the commissioners also, if there's things that you hear out in the community, we want good moral standing of the petitioners. So if somebody has, and I give you my agenda every month, so you'll know what's on it. If there's somebody on there that you say, want to come to me and say, hey, I know this or that, and things that you might want to review in your decision on voting for their license, I need to know that, because I can only hear so much and see so much, but appreciate that. Anything I can do for you, you come to me.
Thanks, Luann.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Start with CBC. We got 1, 2, 3, 5, 6.
Okay, and we have two seats.
3.
3 appointments for a 2-year term on the CBC.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can start here if you want. To you.
Okay.
Just line them up here.
We have Andy Scaly. These are all for the CVC commission, or CVC.
So my name's Andy Zakali. I've been here 50 years and had a variety of roles during that period of time. I've served on the CVC currently and in the past. We currently have 3 lodging establishments. My major concerns are, number one, that whatever we do on the CVC, it's legal. And it helps that I have that experience. And also that we don't kill the goose that lays the golden egg. Currently, with regards to the innkeeper's tax and the fees that get paid to credit card companies and booking companies, most of our lodging loses 20% of every dollar that comes in before they get anything. So I have submitted my application, not only to you gentlemen, but to the commissioners. I appreciate the opportunity to serve again. Do you have any questions?
So you've got a 7% sales tax. There's an 8% innkeeper's tax. And so what I'm assuming, you just used the number of 20%, so that other 5% makes up
Yes.
your 3%, let's say, on credit
Credit cards
fees.
and the VRBO, there are booking fees that get paid as well.
Yeah, yeah. This question may be above and beyond, tonight's meeting, but I'm gonna ask it because you're staying in there. Occupancy rate.
It's down.
Any idea why our
The economy sucks, excuse me. It's a bad economy right now, and
You think households are feeling the crunch on discretionary spending, and so they're cutting back on discretionary
the last
spending?
quarter of this year was 20% less than the same quarter the year before.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, so that's a concern.
right.
I have been happy that we've been able to put together a very good contract between the CVC and the CVB with a whole lot more oversight. So yeah, let's face it, without tourism, we wouldn't be talking about the things we're talking about.
Correct.
Any other questions?
Why do you want to go through this again?
I love that question. I should have figured it'd come from you. I kind of have a motto in my life, and I ask 2 questions whenever anything comes: why and why not? The why is, I've got a stake in this personally, and my training experience is helpful. As I'm sitting here, I'm remembering a whole lot of meetings in this room over the years, and it takes a whole lot of patience to do what you're doing and to be on any of these boards. So the answer is, I think that's my duty. Any other questions? Thanks for your consideration.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Did he,
He admitted this afternoon.
he submitted this afternoon?
Yeah. I know.
Accepting,
We want to do that at the end then?
yes,
What's your next one?
for the same, seat, we have Jim Schultz.
Hi, I think most of you know me, or I know most of you. I've been in Brown County, since 72. Lived on Greasy Creek, around property in Greasy Creek since 78. I was on, probably the first economic council that we had. It was back in the early 90s. I coached Little League for 11 years. I did Boy Scouts. I did PTA. I've done other boards and commissions in Brown County. I have business interest. I would be a business appointee. I'm not a lodging guy. I have short-term rentals, but I don't have, or I have long-term rentals, not short-term rentals. You know, I am definitely behind the tourism thing and have been here for a very long time as a support to the, you know, the community through the taxes and the economy that it raises. Brown County has been singularly supported or primarily supported by the tourism and the arts since it began. And I'm particularly fond of the level of tourism that's going on right now because of the amenities that it provides myself and my friends in close proximity to where I live without traffic and on and on and on. So I first got involved with the CVC or CVB probably, I don't know, 14, 15 years ago when I was asked at that time I asked some money questions and the answer was, well, we don't share that. And my question to them was, is that by policy, by statute? And they said by policy. And just this last month is the first time I think we've got some really decent looking paperwork that's been in an orderly file so we can see, you know, people can speak to the fact that we're down quickly because the data is available. Brown County is not down as much as a lot of people. I mean, some places are off 30, 35%. So our 20% down is actually good. And this whole thing is ours to keep, you know, kind of like the lady who's a state, has state tourism said. To me, that she said, you know, if you knew how much money other communities, other cities, other towns are spending trying to get what we have, you'd be shocked. And so that is, you know, there's a lot of responsibility in just maintaining what we have and potentially generating more revenue to help locally, however we can make that work out. So I'll take questions.
I didn't realize you got here until 1972. I thought you dated back a lot longer.
I may have looked at them. Anybody else?
Yeah, so why? Why do you want to?
Well, you know, I mean, Andy just spoke to it. Why did I coach Little League? Why did I do this? Why did I do that? You know, I feel like in order to be a good human, you have to be of service. And, you know, I'm still functional. So, you know, it wouldn't want some old incompetent. I mean, I've got a pretty good handle on how it works and whatnot. Anything else?
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Same position. Next up, we have Andy Bartels.
guys. I'm Auntie Bartels. I was born and raised in Brown County. Went to school here, graduated from school here, volunteered as a high school student here. I went to college in Ohio. My husband was also born and raised here, and he went to college in Florida. And we always knew we both wanted to return here and raise our families here, and that's what we've done. So we've lived where we're at for probably almost 25 years out in Pass Story. So we've been there for a long time. I've been a school teacher. I was a school teacher for 19 years. I taught here at the middle school for 5 years. And then I taught in Columbus for a little bit. I was an art teacher. And I taught in Columbus for a little bit. And then my last teaching position was at the high school. I taught there for 4 years. And while I was in the middle of teaching at the high school, my father passed away. And I ended up deciding to keep some of his properties. And so for 3 years, I was a high school teacher and I was running 2 restaurants at the same time. So I gave that up after those 3 years of it being madness. And now I'm doing that full time. And I also joined the CVB. I'm the vice president of the CVB board currently. I joined that about a little bit over a year ago. And I've been working really hard there with the other board members to help incorporate our community into what we want out of this CVB. We held open meetings for community members to come in and tell us what they wanted to see, because the CVB can be, you know, it's for tourism, which is super important, but a lot of that stuff bleeds over into the community as well. And that's one of the reasons that I'd like to be on the CVC, because I see that possibility of more intertwining of the two. It's going to be an important year this year with the new 3% raise in the room taxes. It's going to be important to really figure out what we as a community want and what we can do with that extra 3%. And I would love to be involved in that. I feel like I have a good perspective on business owners and residents and growing the community in the way it should be grown. And I think that I would be an asset to that conversation. I've been going to all the CBC meetings, and I've also been helping with the contract for the CBC and the CVB. And I've come to realize that it's great how the CBC is holding the CVB accountable. The CBC needs to be accountable for some of those other grants and monies that they give away too. It should all be checked on the back end and all of that. So, any questions?
You're not currently serving, just tell people more about the types of businesses you have in town that are tourism related, maybe not tourism related.
Oh, okay.
You have some
restaurants, huh?
Sorry, we have your letter, but just to kind of.
Yeah, I have 2 restaurants, the Nash House and the Ferguson House. I also have 17 rental properties in town. I have 15 shops that I rent out in Antique Alley to different artisans and boutiques. And I also I own the Nashville House. So I rent out the space to the Thai Place, which has been a great addition to our community, and also Spears Pottery there. My husband and I have some long-term rentals, and I'm sorry. I've been involved in my.
Just doing that. Okay, that mic. Go ahead. So
I've been involved in my in-laws' businesses as well. They own Explore Brown County at Valley Branch Retreat, and I've helped out with weddings and events there, as well as I was a zipline guide there for 3 summers while I was teaching. So I've been in and out of all different aspects of our tourism community. I've been involved in the art community. I've served on the IHA board. I've served on the Guild board. I've helped put together shows for them. I understand the importance of art in our community, for our tourists and for our locals. We have a great community. Music is a great part of our community. I think it's growing and getting better. At both of my restaurants, we do live music, and I've offered a lot of opportunities to local musicians, and so that's the stuff I do.
Do you have any lodging properties?
I have 2 Airbnbs in the upstairs of the Ferguson house.
What do you do in your spare time?
Well, right now, my daughter is 14 and she is doing travel volleyball, and it is consuming my life. So I do that too.
Arts and Entertainment Commission.
Arts and Entertainment Commission, yes. I'm on the Parks and Rec Board.
Speaking of Parks and Rec, you brought it up. You just walked right into that one. I mean, we've got this, you mentioned the 3% innkeeper's tax, and you've heard us talk about, you've been in lots of meetings. I mean, what's your take? How does that work with the Parks and Rec and 3%? Like, what's your?
I think there are a lot of opportunities for us to use that in a responsible way that still follows all of the rules, but also contributes to the community as well. Looking at the budget for the Parks and Rec, we certainly have areas there that need infused with money that benefit our locals and tourism. So there's ways that we can do that. There's other areas in the community that I think we could do that as well, but it has to all be looked at really carefully. It can't just be a whole move the budget from one entity to another. It's got to be kind of dissected, I guess, and looked at a little closer.
Have any questions?
Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you. Same position. Next up, we have Brian Tedlock.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Brian Tadlock, and I currently am the chairman of the Convention and Visitors Bureau. I'm a lot newer to town than everybody else. So my wife and I have lived here for 8 years. We currently own a cleaning business. We own 5 short-term rentals and a retail shop in Nashville. My experience in wanting to serve on the CVC really is from a place of where I've gained a really good understanding serving with CVB on the systems related to tourism funding in Brown County and how it works, the compliance requirements, the community expectations around tourism. And through our work at the CVB, we've really focused on the accountability within the organization, strengthening the governance there, and ensuring tourism investments yield positive impacts for the visitors and residents alike. And I would really like to bring that to the CVC on that level. More of my professional background, prior to coming to Brown County, I served as a multi-unit retail executive. So I bring a lot of strong operational experience with strategic planning, financial oversight, advanced problem-solving skills, and most importantly of all, forming a consensus among many individuals with various and strong opinions. Something else that I've also embraced more recently than anything, which has tremendously helped the CVB and also the quality of life work group, is the ability to take vast amounts of data and information and condense it into easily digestible information so that we're able to make really good decisions and have the ability to have very transparent materials available to everyone to move work ahead. I think it's always nice that we're able to talk about a lot of things, but I've always taken a lot of great pride in being able to be the doer and get things moving forward in order to achieve our objectives. I I think Andy has brought up a very strong point about the increased innkeeper's tax and the capability for our community to really leverage that. And I think that a strong CVC is essential in order to help govern and make use of those funds. And I think that my ability, which I've proven within the CVB, allows me to take that governance piece within the CVC to the next level so that it remains fair and consistent for everybody applying for grants of our innkeeper's tax dollars. I very much do care about our community and want to see it flourish and have a great economic benefit. And through a lot of the use of the data analytics that we have through the CVB, we're able to make a lot of more and better strategic decisions. I know that Andy talked briefly about us being down in tourism. We're actually only down about 8% in overnight stays. And that just comes from some advanced Placer AI information that we were able to get. When you look at the same Placer AI information, we're actually up in day trips, just down in overnight trips. And really what we have to be able to do is leverage all of that data and information in order to put our strategic advertisements, our decision-making in order to leverage our tourism in order to bring dollars in to Brown County. So, any questions?
Again, this may be above and beyond. Let's consider, I'm not quite sure how to language this, but let's say a hotel room, whether it's Brown County Inn or it's the Seasons. And then we have the tourist rentals. I mean, there's all sorts of different types of even. Would it be okay if I referred that to a unit?
Sure.
Because you could have a unit that could have one person, 2 people, 10 people, 30 people in the facility. Do we know exactly how many individual units there are in the county and what our capacity is for overnight short-term stays?
I'm going to say yes, because the zoning department right behind you has a comprehensive spreadsheet that shows every single short-term tourist rental in the county, every single homestay in the county, every single hotel in the county.
Right, but what I'm after is just top down, big picture. I mean, do we have 500? Do we have 400? Do we have, I mean, I've been told that
we have over 200 short-term rentals in Brown County alone.
But that doesn't include the hotels.
No,
and that thing.
that doesn't include
Probably
your
close to
roof.
700.
Is that what it is? 700 approximately? Thank you. That's all yeah, that was my question. Thanks.
Any other questions?
Why not?
Why
Big
not?
thing from Andy, like, why wouldn't you want to do this? I mean, what's the drawback? Like, have you thought about that? It's a trick question kind of, but yeah.
No, I don't see it as a drawback. I see it as a great benefit to be able to leverage, what I can bring to the table in order to help continue moving the ball forward. Once again, we want to use this money for awesome and great things for not only our residents, but that would serve tourists as well. And I think it's essential that we continue pushing it forward and getting things done. But the CVC has to have a lot more clearer governance documents in place on how the money is handed out. Once they receive the money, how's the information brought back to the CVC? And once again, how are those organizations held accountable to the money they do receive from public funds?
Would you continue to serve on the CVB?
Yes.
Couple people brought up the new contract, and would you talk about what it requires in terms of representation?
So the new contract requires a CVC appointment to the CVB. And so we all feel that was essential into ensuring that the oversight body that funds the CVB has a say in what we're conducting and what we're doing and how we're meeting. So that was essential to provide that continuity between both the commission and then the board as well. And aside from that, it lists different data and analytics that we have to bring to the CVC each month that talks about the money that is brought into the CBB each month. And so it really is a great comprehensive contract that allows us to get very data-driven and analytical with the information that we're providing. And then in turn, how we're using our paid advertising to promote overnight stays. Just this month, for example, for the first time in the county's history, we will have continuous social media paid blasts the entire year. That's never happened before. We have the ability through our cross-display device ads to be able to track actual visitors for the first time ever. So if I service you an ad within your weather app and you're in Louisville, Kentucky, and you walk into Brown County, I've captured you. And also too, for the first time ever, we actually have a dedicated groups campaign. So we're going to leverage the whole convention piece that exists within our name, but was never really gone after before. So those are very exciting things that we're doing this year, aside from a very content-driven website that provides videos, that provides much more unique little flavors that you can get within Brown County. So sky is the limit.
Further questions? Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Same position. Next up, we have Kevin Alt.
Good evening. Kevin Alt. I have served on the Convention Visitors Commission for over 20 years as your appointment. I have served as the president of the commission probably for at least the last 14 or 15 years. It's been, we've had our challenges over the last few years, and with a change in leadership at the CVB, it's made it kind of fun moving forward to see those changes and that leadership change. And yes, we've gone with a contract, and we've had a contract, but 1 year, a couple of years, the contract was a 2-page contract, and then it went to a 1-page contract, and now we're at a 6-page contract. So, and it does have a lot more teeth in it, but it has more information that gets shared with us and with the public. And now with the new 3% added on, that just is, it's more pressure put on us as a commission to look at our governance documents. And I know that council has asked for those, and we are working on those. It's not something you can take lightly and just throw some stuff together. We are working on those. So, and it's kind of come twofold, because we're also involved in the quality of life board. And so there's documents that are coming out of the quality of life board that are going to assist the CDC also, because there's grant documents and things that we're creating there that we will be able to use at the CDC level. Because in essence, the quality of life board is a group that will then be a recommending board to the CDC for funds as they come due or come needed. So through that whole grant process, and we'll still have our own grant process within the CDC for some smaller things, I'm sure. So we're moving forward in a very positive manner, and I hope that I can continue to serve on that commission. I do own 2 lodging establishments and a restaurant in town. So I've always been a lodging appointment. Your 3 positions, 2 of us have to be lodging appointments, and 1 can be a business appointment. And we're all 2-year appointments. The commissioners are all 1-year appointments.
The grant process you're referring to is being able to leverage the CDC funds to get.
Right, the new 3%.
Grants, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any questions?
So what excites you about another 2 years?
Oh, I think moving forward with the quality of life and the new 3% and seeing what we would be able to do for the community and tourism with that additional 3% is, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun next couple of years and hopefully the next 20 years, you know, as this tax is just taking place and we're just really starting to collect those funds. And so it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun to see how that plays out.
Question. You keep talking about quality of life. Quality of life for who? The younger folks in this county? Because most of the people that pay the taxes are older. And what quality of life does this affect for the people that actually pay property tax and those kinds of things?
I think it's going to affect everybody. We're looking, it's not just for one group. You know, the Quality of Life Board will entertain ideas and grant requests from multiple organizations looking at different quality of life improvements.
And what define the quality of life? What do you mean by quality of life? That's pretty broad.
And you're right, right. But what you have to look at is this has to be tourism related and local related. So what can we do for the local people that still helps with tourism? Because it's tourism dollars. It's the innkeeper's tax dollar that's going to pay for these quality of life improvements.
So I understand.
Let's take the fairgrounds for instance. You know, the county fair has struggled. There are lots of opportunities at the fairgrounds that meets for all people, for all ages, including helping the fair. But what can we do with those fairgrounds other than the 2 weeks at the fair it's used for the fair? What can we do for the local people to be able to use those facilities and make them ready to be used? Make them safe, make them user friendly. Do we need more paving so that the older people can get around? Do we need more sidewalks so the older people can get around? In the same way, how do you get to the fairgrounds? And parking, Deer Run Park, same thing. You know, you got grandkids, you want to go see your grandkids, but how can I get around the ball diamonds? Where can I park? Are there sidewalks? Are there paid parking lots?
Do you consider, I know you know I brought this up before where I'm going, do you consider public safety for tourism and the public a part of that quality of life? I know there's some resistance to providing more law enforcement, more emergency services, those types of things, and that is tourism related. That would maybe an objective thing on your part or my part. But as far as something that's related, not concerning grandkids and those kinds of things, to me overall, and I was in law enforcement for 38 years, this is not a safe county. It just isn't. If you only have 2 police officers working the county that are county officers and a town that, my understanding, and I don't know this for a fact, close up their police department for the weekend, basically. And you have 3 million visitors, how is that not a quality of life issue? Or if someone gets injured, or if your kid gets injured, say a catastrophic type of situation in the park or on one of the bike tracks, and you don't have an ambulance or something to take them to get them the care. Recently, quality of life, we had a shooting at the Dollar General store, and it took, my understanding, not as secondhand information, but it took over an hour to get an ambulance. And I hear the rationalization that, well, that's part of living in the county. That's not acceptable. When you have runs and things are tied up and you have 3 million visitors a year, I would think that tourism in that aspect should also be looking at some of the quality of life for safety.
And I think that would play into it. I think you have to be careful because the legislators said directly, this money cannot be used for public safety. But you look at events. We host a festival. Let's use the fairgrounds. We host a festival. We can pay for security for that festival down there out of tourism dollars or out of those festival dollars, however it works out, to keep that area secure so you're not having your sheriff's deputies or town deputies, whoever has to be down there. I think, I understand what you're saying, but we have to be very cautious about how those, so our goal would be, what can we do to offset expenses within the county's budget? So that frees up dollars for the county to put more money towards public safety. Because there again, they've said, we cannot use this money for public safety.
And I'm aware of that situation, except for the fact that the consultant we have, that's an attorney, stated under certain circumstances, that's not necessarily correct.
And the certain circumstances of what I was just saying, we can fund security for particular events, but we can't pay for a sheriff's deputy to patrol the roads. Yeah. We can't pay for ambulance to be available all the time. We
After
can pay
being on that committee from the beginning, everything you brought up is very integral to that committee. They just can't touch it directly in a lot of ways because the state has bound our hands. So they are trying to facilitate that in any way they can. So, because we value and talk about it regularly, but safety is an integral value to getting tourists here.
Right, but there again, when you bring in more tourism, and which is more profitable for the owners, and I understand the economic factor back to this business as well, even though I was in law enforcement, but that takes away from the community. The bottom line is if you have everybody tied up at the park, what is left for the people that live here when you bring in more? To say next year it's 6 million people you bring in, just as an example. So where does that leave the county? Where does that leave the law enforcement, the emergency services, all of that? Where does that leave those folks as far as, say, even the people that visit here? To me, it seems like that should be, whether we work it out this way or another way, that seems to be a basic need in every county. Every county. I don't know how we compare in this county with law enforcement. I came from Marion County. Obviously, it's a whole lot different there. But for here, like I say, at night, sometimes there's 2 police officers for an entire county. I don't know how many square miles.
Yeah, we have 2 or 3 deputies, depends on, there's an overlap at night. And the town does have somebody 7 days a week now. There was a time period they were shortage of officers, and there was some issues within their town police. They have a wonderful town marshal, and they've got a force in place now. So it's,
Kevin, I want to interrupt real quick.
Yeah.
So part of the quality of life committee's work is to work more with the health needs assessment that the foundation did. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at that in depth, but that really addresses a lot of what you're talking about, Patrick. But our goal is to leverage our partnership with Sustaining Hoosier Communities at IU in order to broaden that and implement that, because that will require some fundamental changes with how we do emergency services more for like ambulatory, because a lot of the residents here use the ambulatory services as a doctor's visit.
That's everywhere.
Or as you know, that urgent care clinic that they do. And so there's some good recommendations in that. We just need some help from, higher brain trust in order to how to implement that. So that is something that we are working on.
Brian, you led into what I was gonna address, is through that same program. What we have right now is, we all understand that, tourism uses local services. We don't know that breakdown yet. I mean, everything we have is speculation and guessing, anecdotal evidence. Well, one of the projects we have through Sustaining Hoosier Communities, HSC, no, yes.
SHC.
SHC. Too many acronyms.
Yeah.
Anyway, one of the proposed studies we have in that is to actually address, find out how much of an impact tourism has directly with concrete numbers on our emergency services. Don't know exactly how that's going to happen.
At one time,
The methods for finding that, because, what we can do is we can look at the sheriff's law, which is, it shows us some things, but it doesn't show us everything, because the sheriff's law will show a run to a house, but if that house is a tourist rental, it's going to show up as a residence in Brown County.
And they're paying property tax.
Yeah, they're paying property tax.
And they're paying property tax, so.
Yeah.
higher
Yeah, they're
than.
paying
a
twice
resident.
as much property tax as residential.
I mean, most counties, base it on response times. Now granted, just the terrain here, I understand would likely be a longer time. But I bet the response times, if there's that in those studies, it overall, no matter how you cut it, no one can show me, and Jim's always bringing up these things, no one can show me there's nothing available because you just said it. How safe is this county? Everybody seems to focus on everything but how safe this county actually is. You know, I mean, it just comes in with all the things that are going on in this world. And just to give you my background, I did work as a contractor for the Marshal Service. So I do understand this. But what if there's something, the way the world is going today, at a basketball game? That's tourism, right? I'm sure you bring your family in. It could be tourism. They stay here, whatever. How safe is this county? What is the response time? If it takes just for one shooting on one given day for an hour for an ambulance to get here and no volunteers show up for about that period of time, how can you rationalize that as safe? And it becomes so ambiguous that aspect of the safety of this county is actually left out. That's just.
Can I step in here?
Yes.
Okay. I understand your argument
Yes.
and I appreciate your argument. But for me, the reality, you know, to answer your question, it's 316 square miles is what Grant County is. So to me, I chose to move to the county in 08. And I understood what the county is. And
That's a rationalization. Jim.
no, it's not. Let me speak. Okay, and we can then go outside and fight. But, you know, for me, I know that if I'm on my property, and even if I have my cell phone and I'm out on that property on the zero turn and I have a massive heart attack, even if I can dial 911, the probability is by the time the emergency services get there, I'm gone, I'm expired. And that's the price you pay.
That's not the price.
Yeah, it is.
Can we?
Yeah, we can talk about it, but to me,
Conversation.
and then,
No, because it's a part of this.
but
And no one, and everybody here in the tourism business puts this off. Everybody rationalizes.
But we don't put it
Now,
off.
Pat,
And you're-
you have not provided.
Hold on.
Yeah.
And now see there again, now we're going data. There are 2 police officers in this county, or maybe 3. That's, and an hour to get an ambulance?
Tell me that's wrong.
Come on.
But you don't have that data either.
Right.
So, and I think this is not the spot to work that out. You're trying to make appointments to boards. And I can't solve that. It's gonna take more than the CDC and anybody else to solve that.
But
And that 3% is not gonna solve that. Because that's $750,000 on a good day, and you're not gonna be able to solve it with that. If you took all that money, you're not gonna solve that. Because that's gonna give you 2 police officers and 1 ambulance. That's all it's gonna give you. So,
and Patrick, I want to say one last thing. Just recently, I had a conversation with a prosecuting attorney. And I'd never thought about this before. But when I had this conversation with the prosecuting attorney, and keep in mind, when you look at our budget, the annual budget for the Brown County, when you look at the justice system, the amount of capital that we spend, that it takes, that's the largest expense as a county, because there's like 12 different components of that. And where I shifted is that to have a prosecuting attorney get confronted with a felony case or with a specific case, and then that individual has to go look at their budget to determine whether or not they have enough money to even think about enforcing the law. Because that was the question, because this case had some specifics to it. It was going to be very expensive. It required an interpreter. And the question is do I have enough money to even enforce the law? And that was a big shift for me because I never looked at it from the perspective of, okay, I always thought you have the law and the sheriff deputies do their thing and we arrest them and then it goes to the prosecuting attorney and then it goes to the circuit court. So I appreciate what you're saying, but that whole, law enforcement, that whole, what I refer to as the justice system is extremely expensive.
right,
And it's putting a squeeze on us And I think that's where you're coming
And
from.
I think it's not all tourist related. And a tourist is somebody I would say that comes here, visits for the day or spends the night. We have two major corridors that come through this county.
Right.
46 comes from Columbus to Bloomington, Bloomington to Columbus, between two interstates, and then you got 135 that connects to those. And the arrests that are made on those corridors are not people who are even here. They're driving through and drug lords, whatever. I mean, they're there and that's where these arrests, and they happen in this county, and then they go to our courts and they're taking our, our legal system, to the cleaners.
Yeah.
It's an issue we don't have answers to.
Yeah, no.
We hope to get.
Yeah. And everything I say to all of you on the CDP and the CVB, I appreciate everything that you do, because for me, my perspective, that when you look at that tourism, that Brown County supports, I don't view that as with the state park and the tourism sector within Brown County. When I look at that as something that really is an asset, not to just Brown County, but to Bartholomew County, to Monroe County, to Jackson County, to Johnson County. Because I know for a fact your publicly traded corporations who are trying to compete to bring in top talent actually leverage Brown County to try to get people to even look at a flyover state, which is what Indiana is. So that tourism sector in a county is extremely important. And not only is it important to the county, but I think it's important to all the 5 surrounding counties. Because those surrounding counties also help support our county, because that's where people work. So.
Okay, next up, we have Andy Hanlon for the same CDC appointment. You can follow.
We're gonna limit you to 27 minutes.
I'll keep it brief. Hi, my name is Andrea Swift Hanlon, and I think that I would be an asset to the Tourism Commission because of my background in entertainment, hospitality, and the travel industry. I currently own a travel agency, and I also own my own marketing consulting firm. I am a graduate of Indiana State University with a degree in theater and marketing, and I have over 25 years of experience in entertainment as an actor and also in administration as well. A little bit of my background professionally that's been contributed here in Brown County is that I, from very early teens to even now, have worked in various businesses, including shops, restaurants, things like that here. I have a nice side hustle at Big Woods Pizza Company now, so I get to see a lot of wonderful people in and out, and tourists and community members. From April 2019 to April 2023, I was the Director of Operations at the Brown County Music Center. So I have a good thumb on what the innkeeper's tax is, how it works, how things are dispersed. During that time, I was an integral part of writing and implementing standard operating procedures, handbooks, and the management of multiple staff members and volunteers. I've also worked for various theater companies around the world in performance as well. My travel company specializes in Disney destinations, Universal theme parks, and all-inclusive resorts. Well, how that can contribute to our community is that I have a really good heartbeat on what's happening in the travel industry globally, locally, and state, and within the Midwest as well. So I get a lot of data, also working with clients. You may ask, how does that benefit Brown County? Well, my industry fills the cup of those who are filling the cups of our tourists. So when our shop owners are ready to go on vacation, I'm there to help them by helping them, go on vacations and things like that. So I also was a property manager for Regency Multifamily, based out of Champaign, Illinois, but I was managing properties in Bloomington, Indiana, and I worked for them as a property manager and a leasing consultant for over 5 years. So I have a good sense of looking at budgets and things like that, and understanding of occupancy and those items. I currently serve as the president of Leadership Brown County. We are, our mission is to get people networking within our community and learning about things like the CVB board, the CVC, the music center, the playhouse, restaurants, and other businesses, and get networking and gaining knowledge for becoming ambassadors for our community. So I believe that this knowledge and experience of my hospitality experience, marketing, travel and tourism, and the arts would serve me well as a board member. Any questions?
So, why do you want to be involved? What excites you? You'd have 2 years in this appointment. What do you think you would want to tackle?
My why is that I love our community. I was born and raised here, 6th generation. I moved away and returned because my husband and I wanted to raise our son here, and he's 7. And I see now, as being a homeowner and living and working in this community, things that I want to build and help contribute to maintain the this beautiful culture that we have in Brown County for my son and the future generations. That's very important to me. I have a very good skill of collaboration that I believe in. That's something that we work in and believe in on Leadership Brown County, is collaborating and being able to get to a mutual consensus. And that's something that I know that I could bring to the board. I also feel like that I have a lot of creativity and ideas from my background in marketing and entertainment to be able to meet people where they are and discuss the needs for when grant applications come up or needs come up.
What do you think about putting funding towards Parks and Rec, Covered Bridge, Pioneer Village, and just really in general, the 3%, what do you see happening there?
It's not black and white. And we have to be able to document clearly with clear standard operating procedures, clear guidelines, making sure that we are following the rules of the statutes and the laws to ensure that, we're following the law. But I also believe that we have to find a happy medium where tourism and community can meet together, and that whatever we're doing for tourism can also benefit our community. The keyboard cowboys and the people on the internet of our community, have a lot of important things to say, that they want to make sure that the things that are coming to the community, they can utilize as well.
Keyboard cowboys. That's a new.
I think she's talking about you.
That's not qualified.
Oh, yeah. It's worse than that, I think, Jim. That's.
Any further questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you said we had one other appointment or one other name. Jimmy Hilton. Jimmy Hilton. Did we get a letter?
We did.
Yeah, we did.
Did we get it before the cutoff?
I got it today.
Too real.
What day was the cutoff?
It was,
I don't remember if we have a cutoff.
I don't think we have it.
That's what we did. We have a cutoff.
I think we waived the cutoff thing, so.
Okay.
I don't believe we had a cutoff either.
Yes.
Okay, well, that was my question.
Paper said January 16th.
There you go.
At 4 p.m.
Yeah, well, we don't follow the.
Yeah.
Suggestion?
Yeah. Oh, there's Jenny. Jimmy.
It's all good stuff.
Did you get here?
Been here.
Oh,
He's been sitting out.
Misty.
Eyeballers. I didn't even say it.
Hello, my name is Jimmy Tilton. I am currently serving on the Convention and Visitors Commission, started in September of 2024. There was a vacancy and I was able to take that, and I serve with a lot of good folks on the board as well, and we've made a lot of good progress. When I came on the board, the CVB was about to be gone away with for funding. And so we had some triage to do, some decisions to make, some policies and procedures to think about as we're coming up with the contract. And it did take a while for us to get there, but I think we've made enough progress. We do have a contract now in place. I do have, by the way, resumes. If you have any interest in my resume, you can see all my background and qualifications. So my family's been in tourism in Brown County. They started off in 1890. And I'm also a sixth generation in Brown County. I went away to college, have a degree in computer science and a degree in economics with minors in biz management and mathematics. And I do own a hotel, so I qualify under the hotel motel appointment. My hotel is right next door here at Tranwood Suites. And also own some other businesses in town. I'm heavily invested in the success of our community. If our community is not successful, I am not successful. I own several parking lots, I own several retail shops, and buying an additional one here soon. My biggest reason for wanting to continue on the board is I want to continue the work that we started in September when I started, is get the foundational pieces established. Like how do we operate as a board? What are the objective tests for grants? So we have a firm roadmap of here's the definitions of what is tourism, what is development. So we all are playing on the same board, same page. And if that's my only legacy on this board, I'll be happy. I do see a lot of opportunity for partnering both private sector and public sector coming together to multiply the limited resources we have to do something that's far better than any one group could do on their own. And that does mean partnering with outside organizations. There's just a number of opportunities that we don't even see today because they haven't come about. But like the Sustaining Hoosier Communities was as an example from the Quality of Life Advisory Board. And I see the Quality of Life Advisory Board as just being that. It's just advising. It's not usurping the authority of the CVC. The CVC must maintain its authority in final decisions, but I think it should also be open to the opinions and advice from others from the community as well. Any questions from me?
Yeah, I mean, just the 2 years, what do you want to accomplish? I mean, I think you just answered that. Why, what's your driving force for being interested?
Well, I'd like to see the money be well stewarded. And that is the primary role of this board is not to develop this thing or that thing. It's economic. It's being a good steward of this resource, to allocate it towards the best things. You may have 50 great things on the board. We may not be able to get to them all in the first year. But being able to prioritize is important.
Multitasking too, I see.
Yes,
Yes.
some things are more important than others.
Right. You can take that if you need to.
It's not as important.
Okay. Talk to us about the distribution at the 3%. Your position on that. What do you?
Fundamentally, and I will not budge from this, is we need to use the dollars that aligns with the Indiana code. If it meets the definitions of tourism, has to satisfy tourism requirements. It has to be development. It has to follow everything that's in this Indiana code, which is rather broad. You can do quite a bit, but we have to satisfy the legal requirements first. And I don't mind if it's 4%, 5%, or whatever the dollar is. It's all money that has to be stewarded equally, not just a 3%. Every dollar must be wisely allocated.
Let me ask you this, whether you agree with this statement. I'm going to make a statement. I'm going to ask you whether or not you agree with it.
Okay.
If the Brown County Foundation, let's assume the Brown County Foundation has 15 million under management, and they gift out 4% of that 15 million each and every year, that would be 600 grand. The revenue coming in off the 8% based on the historical occupancy rate going forward is going to be an estimated little over 2 million a year. In my professional opinion, I'm speaking for myself, is that today I view the CVC much the same as I view the foundation. And actually, the CVC is handing out a lot more money than what the Brown County Community Foundation is handing out. So you get 2 million versus 600,000. And I've heard several people today, in the context of the CVC, use the phrase grant. So in essence, we're issuing grants, is what the CVC is doing. And so therefore, it's imperative that the CVC board creates the governing documents, and the CVC defines the statute in the context of Brown County, because that statute is so broad. Do you agree with what I just said?
I agree 100%.
Okay, thank you.
Good answer. I'm done.
Anyone else? Any questions? One question about the deadline. When did you submit the letter?
I submitted it this afternoon.
Okay.
I was not told that there was a deadline, so I was making sure I
Well, that was
got
my next
everything
question.
together.
Was there, in the submission process, was there a deadline for submitting,
According to,
other than the paper? I mean, when
I don't subscribe to paper.
I think we asked
On-
for it to be submitted at a certain time, and we had a paper, I think you read when we opened it up, that it should be. I would say, I don't know if Susan on the line? She's not. I think my prior experience tells me that it's kind of like bid openings. You can set up 4 o'clock day of deadline, but if a contractor shows up to the meeting with a bid in hand, legally, I think you have to take it. So I think we just keep in mind that, he submitted and.
Yeah, so the deadline's this evening.
Pretty much, like beginning of the meeting is what I would legally.
Because I have a you get a lot of pushback from me if we all arbitrarily decided to enforce something that I wasn't even aware of, because there was no internal communication whatsoever on any kind of deadline with regards to these applicants for these boards. So
right. And this is not, I'm eating faces and everything out of this. I'm just looking strictly at our policy. If we had a policy for a deadline and we don't follow it,
That's our fault.
That's just as arbitrary as arbitrarily coming up with a deadline.
Tonight could be the deadline.
So I don't recall having a deadline.
We did.
Did we- did we have it?
I'm not saying we didn't, I
In the
just
meeting.
don't recall
And it
it.
was in the paper.
Ambiguous, so it's unclear for us, it's unclear for him.
Right, and that's kind of what I'm leaning at. If we didn't have anything,
I have to go back to,
I would like to clean up this process,
Reading
moving
everything.
forward in the, I mean, if we're gonna set a policy, I want to follow the policy. I don't want to set a policy and then say, well, I didn't, so we didn't.
set,
It has to be in writing and we have
I
to
know,
follow
that's
it.
what I'm saying.
Then
If
set the
if it's going to be in writing, if it's going to be on the website with the application process, then we have to follow. If we didn't have it clearly spelled out on the webpage for the submission process, I don't know how we can't follow. So what's the consensus of everybody on council?
Mine's, there's no deadline. It's too, I don't know it, I don't know it, it's ambiguous.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we set a deadline, at the adjournment of this meeting.
Well, I mean, at that point, anybody else can come in here and say, I want to be.
Right now, they can, right now.
Or you want to set it at the beginning of the meeting when we started the process?
That was the motion. You don't have to second it. I just threw it out.
Anybody else have any input?
Are we doing it for this year or for future reference?
Well, are we,
My motion would be just for this right now.
Yeah, right.
This year.
Right, this year is one thing. We should discuss it and put it in solid.
Yeah,
We have to create a policy and we have to put it in writing.
for the next time, so we don't have
exactly,
this issue.
put it in a policy.
Okay,
Okay,
so we can put that on the agenda for our work session or something of that nature?
are we good for accepting this?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that,
Yeah.
Okay. What do you want to do?
Should we take a vote and just make it
Yes,
official?
you made a motion, yeah.
I made a motion. So
Anybody want to second the motion?
Second. What was the motion?
I'll second
To
it.
accept,
I'm gonna make a motion for, wait a minute, let me back up. Make a motion for board appointments for the fiscal year of 2026. That the effective deadline is this evening at the adjournment of this meeting. It's over.
I'll second it.
all right, we have a motion to second.
Darren,
Yes.
Scott,
No.
Gary,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Joel,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Would you take a motion? I think we need to reopen the RDC. We only got one application, and the reason I'm voting no is kind of just to poke at Jim a little bit, but also because we need to re-advertise the RDC. I think it's just the RDC. We have two openings and one applicant, so, and then maybe we set a. Well, here's the thing about,
Library board too.
oh, is it, we need, well, we need to, we got
Two.
one
The
did
that
not
was
hear.
One that's here. And then
Yeah,
one
we
was in
had
the
the
meeting.
library, we had
But one
one.
who did not appear is actually at the library board meeting.
Yeah. Did they notify anyone of that though?
That's irrelevant. He's at a board meeting,
So-
so that makes him unable to be here.
Okay, so, re-advertising for the RDC, I think we need to do that. Do we need to re-advertise to the library? We had a person who sent a letter but was not present. Or do we accept that person, give them another, do we need to reach out to them and ask them to attend? What's the will of the council? We at least need to re-advertise for the RDC. And I would say, if we are going to set a policy that we allow somebody to walk in the door and apply with zero prior kind of like time.
No, I'm not suggesting.
We're not,
I know,
we're not setting, we're not setting that as a
So-
policy.
so
That was a motion made
Yeah,
for
yeah.
this meeting
Which is why I
and this
no.
meeting alone.
But I think we do need like time to read what they submit and understand it, or have the deadline be at the council, but then we don't make a decision. Because we haven't had time to even think about who it is, or they may just literally walk in the door, you know, and so we probably don't need to not make a decision 2 minutes later, you know?
Well, then let me add to that. You know, there's a lot of stuff I'm unconsciously incompetent on. Well, there's a lot I don't know. And one of the things I don't know is, for example, right now, I don't know off the top of mind of how many boards are there in the county. The county council is specifically responsible for appointing members. So that I've got a document that I can look at, know, it spells it out, and then having a defined process that we can follow every 12 months, right? Because I don't have that.
It's on the Brown County website, come to the county council on the left side. So it's available, but whatever.
Yeah.
So I think we need to re-advertise the RDC and for that one, we probably will want to make an appointment, so it's not sitting vacant for more than 2 months. And so maybe we try to get, we've already had one submittal. You don't have to come back, sir. We've heard you, got your information, but probably need to let.
So make a motion.
I move we re-advertise the RDC on the website and set a deadline for 2 days before the meeting, 5 PM or whatever it is, midnight, so that we can at least have time to review. Probably in 2 days, you're gonna have to turn that around real
What
quick so
meeting?
we can see
At
it.
our
February.
Our February regular.
February meeting or February regular?
Are
February
you
regular.
re-advertising the library as well?
I think we're okay with library, and if we don't have we've already got.
We have one seat to fill in the library, correct?
Yeah, we got.
We have two, we have two applicants.
Yeah, so.
For RDC, we have two, RDC, we have 2 seats to fill.
Yeah.
And 1 applicant.
Yeah. So yeah, let's just make it public now. I think we did this last time,
The
but
third Thursday in February, or excuse me, the third Monday or Tuesday.
It'll be a Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday. February 17th would be the meeting date. With the
Yes.
regular meeting. Thank you.
so let's set the submittal date. That's a.
Friday the 13th?
The 17th is a Tuesday. Is that?
Yes.
You sure that's-
Monday's a holiday.
Yeah, that's, Monday's a holiday.
Monday's a holiday.
President's Day.
Okay. So let's have it be Friday the 13th. Yeah,
At noon
so we can get it over the weekend at
or
least.
Friday,
Just by the,
Friday, February 13th, by the end of the.
Yeah,
I'm set
11:59
I'm
PM.
set in the middle of the day.
yeah.
Deadline.
All right, so restate your motion.
I move we re-advertise the RDC openings on the county website to be due February 3rd to the council or to the auditor's office by end
Friday
of,
the 13th.
by close of business Friday the 13th.
Second.
A motion is second.
Darren,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Joel,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Should I just say, if anybody who wants to go, now would be a great time to do that.
Well, we haven't, are we, are we, have we,
Thank you. Maybe we should be.
we've made the appointments, we have one applicant, 1 seat.
Yeah, except for library.
Are we heard?
Maybe at our work session, we can try to make some additional.
Yes, Controller.
We're gonna make a decision then at one.
You guys are so
What about it? Tuesday or Monday? Thursday.
Council, what do you think? You want to try to make some decisions at the work session of appointments?
They'll be after the commissioners do theirs. Some of these are doing for us.
Thank you, everybody, for coming in.
Can I motion to adjourn?
No,
Please,
Motion to adjourn.
second. All fair, aye.
What do you know?
update on salary.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Let's do that. You got a quick update for us?
Yeah. I've been meeting with all the office holders or elected officials to go over some of their issues for the salary ordinance or I've still got a few more to go to work with and it's going pretty good, but it's a slow process. So, hoping to be done soon.
They were productive meetings too.
They were very productive meetings, very productive. Darren was there in some of them, and then Gary was in some of the others. So,
Good.
yeah, we've done a lot of talking and a lot of telling them how they work and what you guys actually did in them, and, you know, just explaining, a lot of explaining.
Thank you.
Have all of the concerns, all of the major concerns been resolved?
For right now, yes, I still have a few more people that want to meet with me, but for right now, yes.
Are they major concerns or minor?
I don't think they're really major concerns, or just some minor concerns.
A lot of it seems to be around the salary ordinance and adjusting to the WIS terminology.
Yes.
And what it really means.
More
Everybody
of
got
in terms of
paid, everybody was
monetary
happy so far.
compensation.
I'm sorry.
Everybody got paid and there was no discrepancies.
Oh, everybody's paid, that's for sure. You don't not pay people, I'm telling you. But yeah, it's gonna be a process
What
to,
kind of a time frame do you think we have on it?
I'm hoping, I'm not going to actually tell you that it's going to be done, but I'm hoping for the next meeting. Not the day meeting, but the actual next meeting.
Actual,
Yes,
a regularly scheduled meeting?
correct,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, so you promised us then?
I'm, no promises,
I know.
no promises.
Thank you.
That's it.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Third.
You're adjourned.
Oh.
Good job, Darren.
Man. It'll be
I
now.
want to see you. Make the light.
Let's make you the mic off.
Yeah, I know.